Steve the Cookout Coach, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Hey, good evening, and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings live fire, fun, and frivolity show. If you want to jump in on the show tonight, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to greg@bbqcentralshow.com or on the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you get the newsletter, which you can sign up for at the main landing page of thebbqcentralshow.com. Click on the thing that says newsletter, give me an email address, and you will get a heads up every Tuesday right around noon Eastern on what's happening in the show later that evening. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, he's a 2021 Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer. He has one of the most iconic names in Texas barbecue. And if you have ever had really great Texas barbecue sausage, there's a fairly good chance that you probably had his sausage. We will welcome back none other than the CEO of Mikeska Brands Sausage, Tim Mikeska. And what do we talk to Tim about? Recently, we've been talking about the skyrocketing prices of all of the favorite barbecue meats, not the least of which is brisket. We've talked about pork as well. As we enter in the last quarter here, or as we start to close out the last quarter here of 2022, we'll get a refresher on where we're sitting currently price-wise on brisket and pork, and we'll also talk about some other things that are factoring into what was a beginning of a trickle down in price. And now we're going to start to see ramp-ups again here. And there's really no telling how long this is going to last. There's a lot of things that are playing into this whole thing that we'll be talking about. And if time allows, we'll even paint a potentially tragic picture of even greater inflation, even greater lack of availability of product, and an even greater cost at all of this should the worst of the worst happen. But we'll see how this segment goes. After Tim, we will welcome fourth Tuesday of the month regular guest here in the second hour, Derrick Riches, DerrickRiches.com, his website. By the way, what I have found, this means nothing to anybody, but because I use the vMix broadcasting software and there's a whole social media thing that is built into the software program, I put Derrick space Riches and then .com with riches.com. And when I went to post that to the Facebook in advance, the software flagged it because it said riches.com and said, hey, this could be construed as some kind of a shady website or a promise to get rich quick or some nonsense like this. So I had to take the space away and put DerrickRiches.com, but that's his website. So people always looking to be on the safe side of everything, even when there's no reason to be safe. It's just Derrick Riches, a bristly barbecue journalist to be sure. What are we going to be talking about Derrick with tonight? Well, a couple weeks ago, the HPBA Expo took place in Atlanta, Georgia. First time that's happened in a year and a half, almost 2 years. Let's call it 2 years. And as you would recall, and I think I lived in Cleveland at the time, This was right about the time that COVID was shutting everything down. This was the last exhibition that was taking place where it was originally supposed to be fully attended. A lot of people backing out right at the last second. And then as the week wore on, a bunch of people were pulling out right on the show floor, just packing up and leaving because the pandemic was coming and nobody knew how they were going to be getting back, and flights were being canceled, and people were being halted from coming into the country, and the list goes on. You remember what it was like. It was only 2 years ago. So it is now refired, back open for business. We'll talk to Derrick, who attended live, what the best parts of the show were, what the worst parts of the show were. He has an article on DerrickRiches.com right now if you want to get a heads up on some of the products we might be talking about here in a half an hour or so. You can do that as well. That'll close the first hour. Then we'll move into the second hour. It is the fourth Tuesday of a month, as I had just mentioned. And in the second hour, it can only mean fun and frivolity at its finest. The embedded correspondents are joining me. What does that mean to you? You're going to have great information. You're going to have great thought leaders and leading opinion makers in the industry. Doug, John, Rusty, myself, talking about a number of topics. But before we talk about the topics du jour or the topics of the day, we will, of course, play a fresh round of the 100% Assurity picks. So I will tell you how you can join in on that if you want to answer along with us here in the second hour. So there's your show. Tim Mikeska coming up shortly. Derrick Riches after that. The embedded correspondence in the second hour. And your phone calls and emails as you see and I see fit. Don't forget you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapper Snaps at BBQ Central Show. For live video feeds of this show on Tuesday nights, you can go to Facebook and Twitch/BBQ Central Show. Also one on YouTube /RD Rempe. They immediately archive after the live show airs. So if you miss it, you can go back and watch till your heart's content pretty much immediately. Also, you can get a live audio version of this show if you would rather hear and not see by using the ever-popular Clubhouse app, which continues to grow in popularity each week. People that are on the move, people that are on the go, people that don't want to watch us can listen to the same show with the same quality and potentially interact, which leads me to this. If you want to be the person that answers the 100% Assurity picks, along with me and the embedded correspondence, all you have to do, your YouTube is double audio. Something is askew. Well, I can tell you this. It is 100% not me on the YouTube double audio. Although, yeah, it's not me. I do the same thing every week. What, are you kidding me? If you want to be a part of this show, all you have to do is jump on in. The Clubhouse app, download it. Raise your hand when we get to the second hour. I'll say, hey, who wants to jump in and answer? I'll pick one of you, and you can answer these 100% Assurity questions right along with us if you're not sure how you do that, but you want to take part. I will also break down the rules. It's very easy. You say yes or no to each question, then we go around it, and away we go. So that's the 100% Assurity picks, and that'll happen in the second hour. So that's all the ways you can listen live, podcasting later, tomorrow, Thursday, also Friday. I'll talk about that in the second hour. But let's start here tonight. I got a bunch of emails from people who listen to the show via podcast, and they were asking what these big technical issues were last week because they didn't seem to really notice anything. And that's the point. Podcasters, while missing the fun and frivolity live and unfiltered and unedited because it's live, right?
We'll do it live.
Podcasters don't get to live through that experience. And sometimes it's great and magical. Certainly they're getting it on replay, but there is something to be said about experiencing something live as it's happening, breaking, if you will. But if we use the term breaking and then apply that to technology is breaking during the first hour of the show, that's not a good experience. By and large, like 99% of the listening audience is not live. They're not watching it on YouTube. They're not watching it on Facebook. They're not watching it on Twitch, nor are they consuming it through Clubhouse. All of you that are watching now and listening now are doing that. But the vast majority, to the tune of 30,000 plus downloads a month, are taking it in podcasts. You want to consume it when you want to consume it, which I get. And I will not have my podcast audience suffer through nonsense technology and people calling audibles, deciding they're going to show up on South Beach to do the show when, meanwhile, we tested in your house. I'm not going to subject myself, I'm not going to subject my listeners to such nonsense or technical issues like monster echoes or when my internet craps out at the most untimely of times. I'm not going to do it. So to all the podcast listeners that wondered what the big deal was, I cut out. Did you notice that the first hour was 47 minutes? I fixed that for you. So that's why you didn't really notice too much. And why do I censor swear words on a podcast where there's no FCC regulation? Because to me, that's funny. The censor beep is always funny. It's never not funny to me. Hey, let me talk to you quickly about Yoder Smokers before we get on with this Tim Mikeska. Yoder Smokers designs and builds all of their products right here in the USA. Building pride through craftsmanship and world-class customer service is the backbone of how they've built this company. This approach translates into what can be a truly bespoke style product that elevates gatherings with friends and family. Honored to have a trusted choice and place in the backyards of America, from pellet grills to wood-fired offset pits or charcoal cookers. Consistent blue ribbon flavor has become synonymous with the Yoder Smokers name. Make no mistake, Yoder Smokers' flavor-driven design is unique to each style of pit, and their team has developed cookers to perform time and time again while outlasting the competition for generations to come. It's this generational thought that's rooted in the handmade products and defines the integrity of the core values. American-made quality and endless flavor, the benchmarks of Yoder Smokers. Visit yodersmokers.com and grab yours today. This is where I would sit here and say we're ever so close to booking. No, we're not. I'm going to keep trying, but I would be lying if I said I am that much closer to finally booking Yoder Smokers. I'm not. I would love to be, but at this point, Yoder Smokers is not on the proverbial radar, but I will continue to try. But it doesn't matter. I know folks that have them. I know folks that are completely in love with them. And that's all you need to know. They're performing really well, and they cause you to fall in love with the cook. yodersmokers.com. We are back with Tim Mikeska, one of the most iconic names in Texas barbecue, right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by the Barbecue Guru, creators of automatic temperature control technology, sellers of ceramic cookers with built-in power draft fans and accessories to make your barbecue and grilling life easier. Visit bbqguru.com for more information or call them 800-288-GURU. The Barbecue Guru continuing to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. My first guest this evening comes from one of the most iconic names and brands in Texas barbecue, especially when it comes to sausage. On top of that, he happens to be one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to what is currently happening within the meat and the market. We have spoken all about it over the last 12 months or so. And here with an update is Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer of 2021 and friend of this show, Tim Mikeska. Hey, Tim.
Hello, Greg.
How are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. Glad to be with you.
We are going to talk about brisket and pricing here as we sit near the end of Q1 of 2022, if you can believe it. But let me show you a headline that a friend of mine sent over here. Give me 1 second as I make my way. This shocked me, and I don't know if it will send the same type of shock waves up you. I'm stalling here because my camera, of course, is not exactly where it needs to be, but let me get it. Okay, here we go. This is Kansas City. Order anything but brisket. Kansas City barbecue restaurant pleads with customers. And if in case you're wondering, this is, I guess, what some would call an iconic place in Kansas City barbecue. Arthur Bryant's is telling people order anything but the brisket. What do you think about that?
That's where we are. That's what's happening. I've seen people going from brisket to chuck rolls, boneless sirloin, also the culotte, which is the top of the cap of the sirloin. Briskets are short supply. You know, it's people like you that promote this great business we're in and talk great about barbecue, and it's very popular. Brisket short right now.
One of the things I wanted to lead you in with was this piece, and I think it's a good way to segue into that first meat that we're going to be talking about, which is brisket. But as you read this little blurb, what comes to your mind? And I know you're passionate about this particular issue.
Well, you know, this says it all. When I read this pretty much tells you where we're at, and it's a very good analyst that Jamie said. It said, you know, the company's good fortune. They're talking about the people that sell brisket, whether they pack it, distribute it, sell it, retail, wholesale. It's a reminder that in an economy where both wage growth and supply chain bottlenecks are driving inflation, businesses that sell things, not necessarily barbecue, but brisket, but sell things in general, that people want, cannot only deal with the higher cost, but thrive from them. So that basically says inflation is up. There's a reason things can be high. Therefore, you price it high. And if you can make money, good for you.
So let's talk about brisket right off the bat. That seems to be on everybody's talking points as we had just looked at that headline there in Kansas City. Arthur Bryant's is saying do anything but, because this is the cost of what a pound of brisket is now versus where it was a year or 2 years ago. This is for the people that are listening on audio podcast, if you want to look at the visual here, just go back to one of the ways of getting the show on a video sense. But you have a nice graph here of brisket decal-off boneless.
Choice. Yeah, this is
choice,
what
right.
Most of the pit masters in Texas, at least, are using. A lot of them are using prime, which are, of course, a lot more than this. Their prime is, still in the 480 to 50 range in there somewhere. But you can see we had a downtick. Everybody was looking forward to see this graph going down, that light blue greenish color there going down into February and March. Now we anticipated it. We knew that St. Patrick's Day always has brisket rising. That's because there's a lot of corned beef use. And as you saw, it went down, but then it started coming back in mid-March, and it's still on the uptick. About 350, 355, 360 for boneless. Of course, all brisket that we sell is boneless. For decal-off choice, it's around that 350, 360.
Let me ask you a question here, and maybe it's only because I'm in the trucking industry to a certain degree, but everybody's feeling it, right? The Olympics ended. Russia invades Ukraine, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But what everybody seemed to notice right off the bat was, oh my God, fuel has gone from $2.75 to $3.50, and now where I'm at in Cleveland, it seems to have leveled off around $4.10 a gallon. But depending on where you are in relation to a refinery, it can be much more than that. Is now that we're seeing a creep up, can we also assume that because this stuff has got to get trucked in and out, and I'm probably only thinking about one end of trucking here, which is like from a packer to a store or distributor and then onto the store from there, is fuel going to be doubling up pricing or adding an extended burden on what is already price uptick?
It's doubled for me when I'm shipping product. It's actually doubled, and it went up about 30-40% over in even before this big rise in fuel. It was up about, I don't know, maybe 25%. It was up, and then it just doubled. And so here's what you have to remember. So a rancher farmer has to take his product. All this is diesel we're talking about. Has to take his product, his cows and market steers and stuff to the auction. And then from the auction, it goes to the feedlots. And then from the feedlots, it goes to the packer. And then from the packer, it goes to the wholesalers. Wholesalers, it goes to retailers. So that's a lot of diesel involved. And I just was traveling around and I saw some diesel approaching $6 here. $4.99 to $5.50 was about the average, but I'm hearing in places like Chicago and especially out in California, it's $7.50, $8 I've heard. So that has doubled the cost. And so that's a realistic cost, Greg. I mean, I can't blame the big four that I always condemn that control 80% of the protein. Can't condemn them because that's a fact.
Talking about the big four for a second, one of the other things that I wanted to ask you about this evening and that you had brought to my attention was, so there's these big four that you, as you say, like to condemn, and they seem to be squeezing the market and they're getting incredible gains as far as revenues and profits are concerned. And I was unaware that the government was rolling out a program, and this has been going on. This isn't like it came out last week. This has been going on for like a year or so, that said, hey, if you want to open a small meat processing plant, boy, do we have the plan for you. What is that all about?
We got the deal for you. Actually started, I think, in January of 2020. It started before COVID hit. And the reason they did it is because there was such a downturn in the small slaughterhouses. Most all counties in Texas, around that have big ranches and farmers, somewhere there was a kill floor and a packing plant, small operation. But as time went on, they just went out of business because the USDA is very difficult to deal with the federal government. And so I believe this is kind of a mea culpa in a way to the government saying, we allowed these four companies to get so big. We didn't enforce antitrust laws, all those things that they could have probably stopped and eased our pricing. So now they go, okay, here's a program, open you a USDA slaughter and packing plant, and you can get up to $25 million. That's the maximum. And I think that's great. And I think it's going to affect more, Greg, of people that were in the business that shut down, that may have an existing facility that wants to just go ahead and revamp it and they need to put some more equipment in it. But the problem is the skill set of somebody. You put an ad, say in the Cleveland newspaper up there, and you say, I need somebody that knows how to slaughter an animal, humanely in a USDA HACCP, hazards analysis and critical control point setting, properly. Now, how many people are going to apply for that? That's an old skill. Even in Texas, it's an old skill, but not a lot of people know how to do it. So it's going to be a challenge, but at least the government recognizes that they need to do something. I hope it helps.
Let's say I'm at a tipping point of selling trucks and I read all about this small meat packing stimulus thing that they're going to be doing, or assistance. At $25 million I can get. Tim, I don't have any idea if I've hit the lottery or if it's one of those things where it's just enough money to get you into something that now is going to be 10 times harder to get out of, or you're going to be barely treading water. You're going to be drowning most of the time. Is that a lot of money to get started? And I understand what you're talking about as far as getting the expertise in there. Actually, I think in Cleveland, I'm probably better set than a lot of other cities here just because of the heritage and the deep knowledge that's around here locally. But outside of that,
right.
Let's say I lived somewhere else. Is this a legitimate thing that I could do if I didn't have a processing plant already like you talked about?
If you have the skills, if you have some of the knowledge and you're a good business person, I think you do have a chance. And, $25 million sounds like a lot, and it is a lot of money. But if you're going to build it from the ground up and you have to build it to USDA specs, it doesn't go as far. There's an interesting article in Texas Monthly that our friend Daniel Vaughn, I think he wrote it, or I believe pretty sure he wrote it a couple of months ago, about a lady out in West Texas that took advantage of this program and opened a plant, built it from the ground up. Not a very big plant, where they take local cattle raised in West Texas to the market, and then they're sold. There's not a whole lot of grocery stores in West Texas, and then they're sold in the local markets, and it's thriving. And it's a great article if you find it. I'm pretty sure Daniel wrote it. So I think it's more intended to try to start the ones that went out of business. For instance, I know of one that's local here that got shut down on the slaughter end. He still has his USDA inspection to sell food, processed food, but the slaughter end was taken away from him because a very upset 800-pound calf didn't make it out of the squeeze chute. I mean, it went into the squeeze chute, to get the calf, the calf calmed down, and it jumped and it came out of the chute and went around the processing room, and the inspectors and everybody was ducking and trying to wrestle. Well, the inspector saw that, and because it was an unsafe environment for both the care of the animal and for the people in it, they pulled their certificate.
Wow.
So I think a lot of that may be to get that back, but 25 million, I don't know. I'm pretty sure you could build a plant for, $4 or $5 million. I wouldn't want to borrow $25 million because you have to produce a lot of cattle to pay that back. It's got to be paid back.
Tim Mikeska joining us here on the show, MikeskaBrands.com, the website, if you're looking to outfit your food truck or a restaurant or whatever business you got with some of the best sausage out there in the country today. One of the other things, aside from the brisket that we were talking about price-wise, is both pork butt, which we love, and then ribs. I got graphics here if you want to talk us a little bit through the pork butts right now.
Pretty much the same. Pork butts, you can still – there was a big deal. Somebody posted the other day that they made the lottery. They got the lottery because somebody saw pork butts for 95 cents. Grocery stores do that, okay? When they didn't win the lottery, it's just a sale. As you can see, the trim butts 126, and that's a good that's a good price. Even though it's 12% higher than his last year, that's not bad. You can still find them for 95 cents in grocery stores.
What's a quarter trim boneless butt?
It's just so the one that's vacuum, that's the 1/4 trim boneless butt. It's pretty much a boneless butt. So the 1/4 trim butt's got the bone in it. All butts that are sold at that price all have bone in. And the secret to cooking, and I'm not a great pork cooker, but you got to get that bone where you pull it out and they're, oh my God, I got the bone out, it's ready. But that boneless butt is going to be a little bit more expensive. A lot of people use boneless butt compared to just to save the bone weight. But
Costco sells only boneless butts in all the Costco stores.
Yeah.
That's where I became familiar with that in the first place.
It adds a little weight, but that pulling that bone out of that butt is really a good key in recognizing that you got it done right. If you can't yank that thing out, you go have another beer, take a nap, and let it cook longer.
And then we have ribs, of course, which everybody loves, and we're looking kind of a lot of the same, or at least trending the same.
Yeah, they're holding their own, and I always tell people, if you don't want to. St. Louis spare rib is one of the best cuts there is because it's already trimmed, brisket bone is off. It's such a great rib, and Wichita Pack, and I know you've had Andrew Bloom on there before. They do a great rib, so that's not a bad price on pork ribs. It really isn't. So, and we've seen that as high as 20% higher. Last summer they were about 25% higher, but that market has come down and it's eased up a little bit.
All right, Tim. So let's talk about where's my thing here? We talked about the fuel.
Tornadoes?
Yeah, we got a couple minutes here. Yeah, let's talk about tornadoes and how they almost screwed up a whole bunch of stuff here too, right? I mean, they almost killed the sausage making world, right?
Almost killed me. Right over here in Elgin, right just 15 miles from me, we had tornadoes. If you saw the guy in the red pickup truck that flipped. The tornado put him back on his, and he just kept driving. That's what we do in Texas. Tornado, just brush him off and keep going. And then went a mile and a half just on the other side of me. So I had tornadoes on both sides of me yesterday, but nobody hurt. A lot of damage. But it's Texas. But interesting thing, it would have been bad if it would have hit Southside Market in Elgin and Myers Sausage. Those are some of the best sausage makers there are, and that would have been terrible.
So we talk about fuel pricing and, the Russia-Ukraine conflict. There is a scenario, I guess, as I was teasing in the open that we may or may not get to here this evening, which is Russia's, currently attacking Ukraine. Ukraine is doing their best to fend this off. And let's play out a worst-case scenario, as you had mentioned when we were sound checking earlier. Let's say there's an errant missile that goes into Poland or some other NATO country. This is going to ramp up some things that nobody wants to talk about here, but let's play that out a little bit. Is there a possibility for World War III, which I would assume is what it would be called? And then how does that affect what we're currently experiencing to a next level?
Well, there's a lot of guesswork going on right now, but I think it was about 4 o'clock this afternoon here in Texas, I called some of my broker friends to kind of get an update on what they were doing and how they were proceeding with their business. And, when I talk to them, they go, we never know what's going on. We get a price and we try to sell it. And, that's it. And everything does sell. I mean, nothing doesn't sit there. They do sell it. And I said, okay, what do I expect? I mean, what's going on? Because I'm always, 4 months, 5 months out on purchasing. And they said, look, as long as Russia doesn't send a missile into NATO, it's going to play out differently. But if NATO gets involved and under the NATO pact, you attack one country, we all go in, we're all in, then it could get really bad because, you're going to have trade embargoes, you're going to have all these things. And I didn't know at the time that Ukraine and Russia provides wheat. I think 30% of the wheat is from Russia, and a lot of that goes into the Africa and fertilizer. I can believe they got a lot of fertilizer over there, and so those things all affect, and that could affect our cattle prices as those things are embargoed later on. It's already been shut down, but I'm sure that America can cover that. But I know for me personally, if they attack my home country, my home family of Czech Republic, I'm going. I'm all in. I'm going to Czech Republic and help fight with my cousins over there. But the truth of the matter is, if we do go to war, if World War III starts, if you think inflation is bad now, Greg, it will be tremendous. There's going to be shortages, and everything will be tremendously high. And it's a reality that the brokers and the future people, the future traders, watch carefully because it could happen very, very quick.
Is there any lead-in to them? Will they get any kind of a quick notice or an alert that things are going to change real quick, and that's going to? I don't even have any idea how futures work. I mean, talk about a guessing game to a common man like me. How does that operate?
Well, in the futures market and the Board of Trade and how they trade grains like corn and sorghum, that kind of stuff. And if you remember the movie Trading Places, they were they were trading orange juice and and then pork bellies, bacon, pork bellies. That's where you get bacon from. Those are all commodities that are traded, and the future market is how how much to bring in and how where you're going to be buying, say in August or maybe July. It's usually about a quarter out to be specific. So in normal times, the future traders really have a good idea of what's going to happen, but now they are scared. They don't have no idea because you got to remember, brisket and ribs are big sellers between. You have Memorial Day, you have 4th of July, and you have Labor Day, and and of course we just passed over the big brisket for St. Patrick's Day. But when I talk to these guys this afternoon, they go, "Look, we're watching the news because the minute if they hit a NATO country and we go all in." You're going to see, if you think inflation is bad, they said it could be through the roof.
Tim Mikeska joining us here on the show, breaking it all down, as he is one of the smartest people that we know in the business of barbecue, no doubt about it. That's why he's the Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Famer, talking about brisket prices trending up. That's now coupling with fuel pricing, and who knows what's going to happen with a potential war here in World War III. We just have to wait and see. Hopefully it doesn't all come to fruition and things start to trend back down. I'd rather have you back on in a quarter, Tim. We're talking about how things are, bottoming out and the prices. And Arthur Bryant's wants to say, hey, order everything. Don't order anything. Just order the brisket, for crying out loud, right?
Yeah, that would be great for that to come back.
No doubt. All right. If people want to get your sausage, of course, MikeskaBrands.com, shoot you an email or best way to do that.
Or contact Wichita Packing up in Chicago with Andrew Bloom. He ships all over the country, or contact me at tim@mikeska.com. We go. I'm in 22 states now, so we'll get it to you.
Tim, always appreciate the information. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Greg.
You got it. There he is, Tim Mikeska. Look, we don't want to bring the mood down here, but we want to make sure that we're setting you up the right way, just in case, because who knows what's going on or what could happen. A little errant missile here or there could break out World War III. We don't want that to happen. So that's where brisket prices are now, and your pork butts and your ribs. So if you were wondering where it's sitting and why, now you're up to speed. Check in with Tim down the road and see where pricing sit the next time. Derrick Riches is in the green room, of course, and we'll be talking to him about the most recent 2022 HPBA Expo. Before we do that, I'll talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grill, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today, still while you can get them. A choice line and a prime line are the ones that you can get right now. Choice. Little light on the features and the benefits, but a great cooker nonetheless if you want to save a couple $100. Does accommodate that pizza oven insert. If you want to get app controllability, if you want Wi-Fi connectivity, if you want 2 internal meat probes and a bunch of other bells and whistles that will amp up the barbecue and grilling game, then the Prime line is something you want to take a look at. Peak and Ledge are the 2 sizes there. These also accommodate the pizza oven insert, only sold through dealers. So go to greenmountaingrill.com, find a dealer near you, go visit that dealer, learn all about Green Mountain Grills, and then pick the best one that fits your needs. They're not going to oversell you or undersell you for that matter, and they'll make sure that you're outfitted with all the accessories that you need. Now, if you get home, even though you will be well-versed on all of the cooker stuff, if you missed a couple accessories here or there, you go to greenmountaingrills.com. And to get all the accessories that you want to complete the Green Mountain Grill cooking experience, rub sauces and pellets and all that other stuff. greenmountaingrill.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. And we're back with Derrick Riches right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets to fire all pellet-driven cookers. Go to cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase or to see what other items they have to make your life a little bit more smoky in a good way. That's cookinpellets.com. Did I just clear my throat? And did everybody hear that? I apologize if that happened. Maybe I'm just thinking that happened. I'll have to go back and listen to that. I apologize if that happened. It was very unprofessional. It's the 4th Tuesday of the month. That, of course, means it's time to go to the hotline and welcome in one of the most respected barbecue journalists in this business. Also a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer. You check him out on the site, DerrickRiches.com, and we welcome back Derrick Riches. Hey, Derrick.
Hey, Greg. How you doing?
I am fabulous and appreciate you making time this month, as you do every month, here to come on the show and talk a little live fire shenanigans and tomfoolery. And what more tomfoolery could we possibly have than by the HPB Expo or HPBA Expo finally getting back? As I had mentioned in the open, I don't know if you heard it, but 2 years ago, this was like the last bastion of human beings being out. A couple customers and companies pulled out as it was starting to go off, but then people were pulling out in the middle, pulling off the show. The world is ending, the sky is falling, and it shut down maybe a little bit early by a day or so. But now we're back up and running. So I guess just from a high level, what's it like being back amongst the live fire crowd, and what did you think of the exhibition in general?
It was a good show, actually. I mean, it was small. And I think because a lot of people were like, well, should we? I was talking with one of the organizers, and they said that half the people that showed up had registered in the last 2 weeks. So it was kind of a last minute decision. But it went off without a hitch. And it was overall a pretty decent show.
Where were we at this year?
This year we were in Atlanta. Back to scenic Atlanta, which I think is a bit of a fluke. It's not supposed to be in Atlanta, but they needed a place and scheduling conflicts because they're trying to stick to Louisville, Nashville, and somewhere else. I forget.
Any reason why they're trying to stick there?
They've worked out deals. Like trade shows like this, it's like, hey, if we book 4 shows over the next decade, can we get a package sort of deal, I guess, is the way it works.
The
I don't
last
know.
and only HPBA Expo I was ever at was at Atlanta. So it was probably the last time it was at Atlanta. Unless they did a
It might be,
back-to-back.
yeah. They used to do Atlanta a lot, and then they just stopped. Might have to do with the size of the show or something like that. I don't know. Plus, I don't know. Do you want to go to Atlanta?
I was going to say,
No.
I mean, no offense to Atlanta, but it's trash.
Well, it's
Yeah, that's enough said. I think
Atlanta's
it's
a
enough
bit
said.
rough.
I don't think we need
it's
to
a
go
bit
any further
used.
than that. Trash is trash. I mean, come on, Atlanta, pick up your game.
I like it. I have nothing necessarily against it other than the fact that you have to go through Atlanta Airport to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, well, and that might even be the best part as far as I'm concerned. You said attendance was smallish, and that people were making that decision even a couple weeks before the show was actually coming off, which was kind of funny. Noticeable exhibitors at the show. Who stood out?
A lot of the usuals were there. I mean, Weber was there. Danson's was there. With Green Mountain Grills was there. I mean, it was a lot of the people that normally do the show were there. Nobody sticks out in my mind as not being there. Napoleon, Onward Manufacturing, Broil King. So most of the big players that do the show were there.
On the whole, would you say their booth size was normal, or did they shrink down?
I would say that for the most part, yes, some of them were going for a smaller footprint on it. And I think they just didn't want to make a big investment in the case they, were going to cancel out at the last minute or something like that. Because, I mean, I was at the show in New Orleans 2 years ago when that all got shut down. And I mean, there was people from other countries that were like, am I going to be able to fly home? Are they going to shut the airports? I mean, that was kind of the concern with that, I mean, I just hung out with Ray the whole time, and we just kind of went out and wandered New Orleans, so we weren't too concerned. But
well, I mean, what kind of trouble can happen with wandering around with Ray? Who knows? Yeah. Any noticeable exhibitors not at the show? Ones that you thought would have been there that didn't come?
No, not really. No, I mean, Charborough never does these anymore. Traeger does them occasionally.
Doesn't Traeger do their own thing? I thought I saw the same weekend they were doing Traeger Demo Day or whatever it was.
Yeah, they're basically their own thing now. So I don't think they're get too big into these sort of things. Plus, they're increasingly seem to be going, big box retail and direct to consumer. So they're not that interested in trying to pick up the small retail places that a lot of other businesses are looking at.
Do you think they're...
Because that's what you go to HPBA for, is to get in with the independents and, those sort of people.
Could they be running into a camaraderie issue, or do they not even care? Is that a question that makes sense? People at the exhibit, like at the show, I mean, they all seem to be hanging around. They're commingling. They're making agreements. They're gentlemen talk, this and that, all industry stuff. And then Traeger is increasingly turning away from that. Are they also somehow turning their back on the industry to a degree by not being friendly or gregarious or integrated?
No, I mean, you go to the show, it's not going to hurt you. I just don't know that they necessarily see the benefit. I mean, Weber goes there and they sell in 130 countries, and they're in every major retail outlet, and they're Amazon and direct to consumer, and every single possible distribution chain. They do it, but they also do the independent stores. So why not? They're going to do everything. Of course, they got the money to burn, I suppose. I don't know if they've got the money to burn, but they do burn it.
They have the money to burn?
So I don't know if they have the money to burn, because now that we have financial information on them, I'm not saying they've got the money to burn, but they do burn it. So
what's their financials look like?
Well, it's, if you're looking at their quarterly filings, it's not huge profitability, but business is business, I guess.
What were the best products that you saw at the show?
What was great about this was getting to kind of catch up a little bit on stuff. So, I really liked there's the Gather Grill, which,
is it
you
tall?
look at it and go,
I can't tell from that picture if it's tall or not.
I know. Yeah, they're weird pictures. It's table height, but it's adjustable. You can raise it or drop it about
Okay.
12 to 18 inches.
I see right there. There's pull pins on the legs there to raise it
up. But the craftsmanship in this is just really impressive. I mean, the smallest unit's going to start at about $3,000, so it's not cheap. But
it's kind of like an art flame, but without a rolled lid, and then you cook in the middle of it instead of on the actual sides of it.
Yeah, and the table section, there's like the table parts. You can take them off if you want to get closer in, or you can put in prepped sections. It's entirely modular, and just really nice people behind it, really working hard to kind of get this out. And the whole cook area is on rollers, so you can spin the whole thing around like a giant grilling Lazy Susan. Wow. So. Yeah, it was impressive to see it in person. When you look at images of it or stuff, you kind of like, I don't know. But when you see it in person, it's like, it's actually a really impressive build on this. And it looks like it'd be a lot of fun to play with. I like that birch barrel, which is like the first item on there. That's just kind of a fun item, really.
What kind of money are we looking at for this thing?
$1,200. That's with tripod and the whole thing. So it's not inexpensive.
Yeah.
Basically, the bottom of it is akin to a solo stove.
I was going to say, this looks like a solo stove that's suspended on a tripod with a dome.
Yeah. And then the lid section will lock into the cooking grate. So you can just kind of use that pulley mechanism to lift the food out to get to the fire, or, to kind of lift stuff away. It's a lot of fun. And I'm trying to get my hands on one because I think it's a lot of fun to play with. And because it's suspended, you can put it anywhere, and the legs are adjustable, so you don't need to find some flat area to put it on.
Yeah.
So, and you don't have to get the tripod if you don't want to. It can just sit on the ground.
But let's talk about this one before we get into something else. This is something that I've been talking about on and off for what seems to be like a year. I know the manufacturer of the product out there in Canada and the guy that owns it, but this is a charbroil brain and technology to a certain degree. It's not a full winter product, but I assume this was something that you could put your hands on and walk around and do the normal Derrick Riches stuff, or no?
Charbroil was not at the show, so.
Oh, right. Of course, you said that.
Yeah, they don't largely,
Listen much?
They don't really do trade shows. I'm not sure what they do.
This seems to be a piece that, for the incredibly blah web release that they did with this, it just
awful,
appears like this is something that you would want to get out and trot around like a prize pony at the event of the year.
It is the sort of product that I think you need to get in front of people. Because I think that if it comes up on, a website or something like that, you just scroll right past it. If you're walking in a store and you see it, you probably walk right by it, because there's nothing intuitive about it that stands out. Now, my whole point of it is this is a single burner thermostatically controlled gas grill, the Charbroil Amplifier Cruise 436S, because they have to make names long. And it's, I don't, this could just be dead in 6 months, or it could be something that people go, yeah, this worked for me. It is designed for people who don't grill. It is designed for people who are not well skilled in cooking. Because you set the dial, say, well, I need this at 375 degrees to grill the thing that I'm going to be grilling, and it will adjust. It's actually auto calibrating too. Not only is it thermostatically controlled, but it will calibrate itself on the fly. And when you're done, you turn it to clean, and it cleans itself, and then it shuts itself off. It's a lot of technology to make things as simple as a microwave. And if that's where people are going, then they may have something. If it's the sort of thing that people are, they did the Smart Grill 4 years ago, and it was on the market about 9 months.
They did a Smart Grill?
Yeah, the Charbroil Smart Chef Gas grill, 3-burner,
Wow.
Wi-Fi enabled.
I missed it.
Remote controllable, and it didn't work terribly well. People had problems. It wasn't adjusting right. It wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. And it was an ambitious effort. I mean, that's the thing. But I respect about Charbroil. If they're going to go out and do something, they're going to go completely off the wall with it. Getting it to work right that's another factor.
Yep.
And it's kind of always been where their downfall is, and part of the reason why nobody stays with that company for more than 3 years. So,
do you know anybody that's put their hands on it? Here's my thought, or here's my conspiracy theory. They can't get it produced for one reason or another. There isn't one, other than maybe a show model here or there. There is no supply. They can't get them out anywhere. Nobody can see it. Nobody can put their hands on it. I have no proof of that, by the way. I'm just throwing it out there as speculation.
Well, I'll put what I know at this point. It is an exclusive Lowe's home improvement product. So you'll only be able to buy it in Lowe's stores. And Lowe's is, hey, give us your email address. We'll let you know when it's available. And when I try to contact them, they're like, hey, give us your email address. We'll let you know when it's available, because we don't know. And it sells for $700. So I think they can get it made for that price and not have issues on that end.
Yeah.
Where they are in the supply chain, there's no word. So they did promise a March, April sort of release, I believe. And it's almost April.
Well, I'm going to follow up with my contact. And then guess what? I'm going to update you tomorrow after I hear from them. And then you can write all about it and take all the credit. Last piece of information here before I let you go, and always appreciate the time. Maybe I was just aloof the past 16 years of the business of barbecue and grilling, but it seems like within the last year and 16 months, there's been many transactions and buyings and partnerings and recapitalizations and what other big words that I don't understand that you want to throw out there, not the least of which, by the way, was last week. There's a end of last week, there's a PR notice put out that somebody that I was kind of helping doing R&D back when they were originally coming out, when these machines were made in Michigan, which is Grilla Grills. A lot of people know Grilla the OG, which was that weird circular head pellet cooker that had that grill on the front window that you could see the pellet thing burning after like 2 times burning. You couldn't actually see in it, but it was a really cool idea. Yeah. Or you cleaned it every time, which was a pain in the ass. But over the span of 6 or 7 years, maybe they sell at the end of last week for $27 million cash to American Outdoor Brands. I didn't know that there was any kind of look to sell. I don't know the ins and outs. I'm working on getting that interview set up. But just from your perspective, as I look to see what AOB also has in the lineup, this seems like a bang win for everybody involved.
I will have to see. I mean, the thing that gets me is Vista Products or whatever. They bought up Camp Chef, and they are also very much an outdoor products company. They own Remington. AOB owns Smith & Wesson and a number of,
Crimson Trace,
very similar associated things.
Yep.
I think this is really kind of their first push into like a cooking.
Yes, agreed.
So I will have to see how that goes. I think we live in a really weird time. And I think that I'm thinking that 5 years ago or so, there was a change in tax law that basically just left some of these investment firms and some of these companies with so much money that they're just shopping, because it's like everything has been sold lately.
Yeah, it's been mind-boggling.
And you wouldn't have seen this. I mean, honestly, when Traeger was kind of picked up by private equity firms, that was really a first. And we're talking 2008 or so, when that first went around, that was kind of unheard of. The fact that, you could get a grill company going and then sell it for money. And now everybody's selling.
Yeah.
And I don't know. My instinct is it's not good, but I don't know that it's bad.
It's happening. That's what we know for sure.
I don't know that I would have paid $27 million for Grilla. I mean, I've known the people there from the beginning. I saw the very first
Same.
prototype
Right.
of their thing. I know you did too. And I've talked with a lot of people over the years with them. Good company, good people, all that sort of stuff. But they're in a highly competitive space.
Yeah.
And there are major players moving into that area, moving in that area, and they're still kind of a little company. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Derrick Riches joining us here as he does for his monthly segment. Read all about him, DerrickRiches.com. Take a read at that most recent release of what he liked at the 2022 HPBA Expo at DerrickRiches.com, and catch him once a month right here on the fourth Tuesday. Derrick, always appreciate the time.
Hey, it's great to be with you.
All right, there he is. Derrick Riches right there, and we'll see him in April. I believe that's right. I was giving out the last month, or the wrong month last week for some reason, but I'm going to try and do it right this time. April is when it'll be. If you want to see what Derrick liked, go to his website, DerrickRiches.com, and see everything that caught his fancy. Okay, this is where I tell you that 2022 is rapidly coming to a close, and it's no lie because quarter number one only has one bonus week left, and then we're in quarter number two. Are you taking advantage of the deal that David McDowell has laid out for the Centralites? You know you could be in better shape. You want to be in better shape. You just don't know how to get over the hump. Or you can get over the hump initially, but is that commitment going to be something that's long-lasting? You need someone that's an expert. You need somebody that's done it. You need somebody that can help you continue your mindset and your goal for a healthier 2022. That's where David comes in. Thanks to our new friend and friend of show, backyard barbecue enthusiast and men's health wellness coach, David McDowell says you can eat all the barbecue you want year-round and still lose the fat. With David, you get assistance around the clock, just a text message, an iMessage, or a WhatsApp message, or even an email message away. He's also available for all those video chats and supporting you. For $200 a month, you have access to him whenever you want. Feeling a little down on your workout game, need some tips, need some tricks. He's got it all. At a restaurant, you don't know what to eat, send him a picture of the menu. He'll give you options. Go to davidleans.com. That's davidleans.com/BBQ to sign up right now for the Barbecue Central Show deal. $200 a month all the way through. Do it. If you're not satisfied, just let him know. He'll refund 100% of your investment, and that's what it is, an investment in yourself. davidleans.com/BBQ. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. I'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion brought to you by Fireboard 2, the next generation. Fireboard 2 and Fireboard 2 Dry, Fireboard 2 Pro. Also, Fireboard Spark, which is now back in stock. So don't forget about that. Fireboard.com is the place to go, or call 816-945-2232. That's Fireboard. And we thank Derrick Riches for joining us this last segment, talking about the HPBA Expo, things that he liked there, the things that he saw there, the people he didn't see there. And then talking about the buying and selling and business of barbecue. It's going crazy right now. $27 million for Grilla Grills. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but great original product. Then they got into stuff that looked a little bit more, quote-unquote, traditional. All overseas stuff, of course. And now they've sold, and I'm trying to work on the particulars and landing an interview with Mark Graham and co-founder as well. David, I think his name is. Anyway, we are pointing to the second hour. If you've missed the first hour, don't worry. It'll be available in podcast here in a few hours. Refresh libations, and we will be back with more Barbecue Central Show. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is Michigan embedded correspondent John Solberg, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono. It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central Show. The live fire barbecue and grilling authority show. It's live fire fun and frivolity at its finest. We do it live every Tuesday night from 9 to 11 right here in the bowels of the Barbecue Central Show studio. And we're recording and streaming and doing all this other stuff. Still to come on the show this evening, the embedded correspondents will be joining me in about 13 minutes from now. We'll do the 100% Assurity pick. I'll tell you how to get involved with that if you are so inclined here in just a few moments. Don't forget, you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat, /BBQ Central Show on Facebook and Twitch for a video feed, /RD Rempe on YouTube for a concurrent video feed. If you would love to hear us and never see us, you can do that on Clubhouse. Also, if you want to take part in the 100% Assurity pick here in just a few moments, you can get on the Clubhouse app right now. Find the show streaming live. I'm sure it's very easy to do, but I don't know how to do that. And then when I ask for someone to raise their hand, just go ahead and raise it up. We'll get you on, and you can answer the questions right along with the panel members. You can also get an ad-free podcast feed experience one of two ways. Go to the Patreon page, which is patreon.com/BBQ Central Show, or if you listen to the show through podcasts on Apple Podcast app, you can subscribe to a ad-free experience right within the show. Just click on that banner and away you go. Or just take the show how it comes. With some ads, but with a lot of fun and a lot of frivolity. This comment coming in from show listener over on the Facebooks, Bob Witt. I know barbecue is a year-round event, but I'm super excited to have... Cut off there? Stupid. But I'm super excited to have spring here and smoking meat while relaxing outside. Just had to share. Bob, I'm with you. I don't mind grilling and barbecuing in the cold. I don't sit outside as much as I used to, but I certainly have no problem utilizing the tools that will allow me a great barbecue, low and smoked product, or out on the grill. I'll shovel, or this year I had to run the snow blower by the grills just to clear a path from deck to the cooking appliances out there. But I'm definitely a fan of the warmer weather. I love anything that's 70 degrees and above. I don't even need to necessarily have sunshine. I just like it warmer because I feel, probably like Bob does, that there's just a certain ambiance that the spring and warmer weather offers a guy or gal that loves to do the live fire stuff. So we are hopefully quickly approaching, although as I look at an 8-day forecast here in Cleveland, there are still days where it's barely getting into 40 degrees. I got to get the hell out of here. Coming up this Friday on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less, episode 221, taking you back to March 29th, 2011, 11 years ago. And this week's Best Moment show features one of my favorite guests during the lifespan of this show, which happens to be none other than Canadian / just in general barbecue and grilling expert Ted Reeder. TedReeder.com. Will make an appearance because he made an appearance 11 years ago, but he'll make an appearance this Friday on a Best Moment show. This time around, Ted and I talked about his work as a product consultant, consultant, and what specifically goes into making barbecue on a large mass quantity scale. Also in this episode, We talk about doing ribs specifically in that kind of a scenario. So when you go to the grocery stores or the big box stores and you see those ribs that are already done and you wondered how that happened, this would be a great portion for you to listen to because Ted talks all about it. And you can go back and listen to the whole episode because there's a lot of great other guests besides Ted Reeder. By the way, I don't know if you are familiar with this, but if you scroll through those show notes every Friday, there's a link back to the original show, the whole show. So if you like that 10-minute blurb that you got that John put together, there's a really good chance you're going to like the remaining minutes of that interview and then all of the other guests that I have within that show. That's what happens each and every Friday with the Best Moments show. There's a link to the original show that you can go back and listen to. Why not? Why not get back and caught up with the history of the show, especially if you're new? If you're new Centralite and you didn't know how many episodes is. I mean, I got over 1,000 episodes in the backlog. I'm trying to figure out how to dump all those in at this point. But that's what's happening here on the Best Moments this coming Friday. Ted Reeder. Ted, what's up? How are you, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Got to book Ted back on the show here sooner than later. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment on this show that has been perhaps lost in the archives or was just a favorite of yours, you can go ahead and email John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com, and he'll do his best to meet your expectation. Now, programming note. Starting the fourth Tuesday of next month, that being April 2022, the close of the first month of Q2. Believe it or not, folks, I'm not even kidding when I say this. The third season of Barbecue Central Show, American Idol, starts up. Oh, yes, who's going to be in the contest this year? So glad you asked. Well, I thought that season 1 champion was going to be coming back to try and grab 2 titles in the first 3 years of this show. Not happening.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Jeff Rice will not be available to try and win back the title this season from John. Not going to get into the specifics, but I'm telling you right now, legitimate reason. It's not that he's had enough of this singing nonsense and doesn't want to take part. He's a big fan of this show. He's a big fan of the American Idol portion. Obviously, he's a champion of the show. He has way bigger things to concern himself with than the contents and nonsense of this show, so we wish him and his family well. That's number 1. Number 2, which happens to be Season 2 champion Jon Solberg, will be returning. He has no choice. He will be back to defend his title. I have spoken with him at length over the last number of weeks. He's very excited to defend his title. Not only is he very excited, this is my speculation here, but I believe John is feeling very confident. Maybe stepping into cocky, thinking that this is his title to lose. Now, I understand. He's the current reigning champion. In essence, it is his title to lose. There was a lot of conversations going on in this household after the second season ended, calling shenanigans on results, saying that some people fixed results. There was a lot of run-amuckedness going around here that I had to quell. But John is feeling very confident that he might be a first repeat champion as Season 3 starts to break out. Who else is going to be singing? Well, of course, the longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas, Doug Scheiding, is back to try and make a push into the quarterfinals here in 2022. Doug known for great songs like Jesse's Girl and other songs that I can't think of right off the top of my head, but Jesse's Girl sticks in my brain for some reason. So, Doug will be back in. Also, singing this year, the Utah embedded correspondent, Rusty Monson, making a huge splash in his inaugural appearance last year there in Season 2. He'll be back for his sophomore season. and looks to win the whole thing. Rusty, of course, known for singing songs like Now I'm a Man and the Banana Song. Was it the Banana Song? I think Dusty sang a song about bananas, which ultimately got him booted out of last year, I believe. But Rusty is an artiste. Of course, I will round out the contestants panel and we'll try to finally get over the top and win season 3 after being the bridesmaid the first 2 years. Now, while many of you love the contestants, I have heard from a sweeping majority of you that your favorite part is the honesty and the ruthlessness of the judges panel. I'm happy to report that the sending of mics to the college-bound girls have already transpired. So, you don't have to worry about any of that. They will be beaming in from the likes of Kent State University and Seton Hill University. Marley will be in studio. Notwithstanding that, to really step up the level of judging this, the third year of Barbecue Central Show's American Idol, I reached out to a professional in the music industry, someone who has decades of experience under his belt as a singer, as a songwriter, as a producer, the list goes on, confirmed, dare I say it, confirmed as a judge for season 3 of Barbecue Central Show's American Idol is none other than the lead singer of the unofficially official band of the Barbecue Central Show, 3 Years Hollow, co-founder Jose Urquiza will be sitting in this season to judge, if you can believe it. This adds a level of professionalism to this event that few can match. In fact, no other barbecue show can match this because no one else is doing it. Maybe for good reason. Nevertheless, season 3, only a month away. So boys, don't sandbag, don't procrastinate. Get your music in the can. Production value at the premium here as we go into season 3. Let me talk to you quickly about somebody who is definitely experienced in the music business and the barbecue business. That's Sterling Ball over at Big Papa Smokers. The championship rubs and seasonings continue to dominate the market like no other brand. 13 perfectly balanced flavors that transform ordinary meals into extraordinary. Owner of Granny's Barbecue Sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to sauce, why not try Granny's? If you're looking for cookers, why not? If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Cooker. They also have the Old Hickory Ace BP, which is a cooker that Sterling trusts on his competition trailer, and only that one. If you're not sure of what grill you need, call them 877-828-0727 or shop their website at bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. Get connected and get in with the website that is changing the nation as far as retail of rubs and sauces and accessories and everything. In fact, Sterling inspired me to have one of my next week's guests on, which is David Parrish from Slow and Seal. Sterling, a huge fan of the Slow and Seal. Inspired me to have David back on. It's been a number of years since we had him back. All right, enough of that nonsense. We're going to get ready to do the 4th Tuesday of the month Embedded Correspondence segment. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion being brought to you by Smithfield. Head on over to Smithfield.com right now for recipes as well as tips and tricks from well-known live-fire cooks like Darren Worth, Jess Pryles, Charles Cridlin. With mouth-watering flavor, no artificial ingredients, Smithfield Fresh Pork is quite simply some of the finest pork money can buy and the trusted choice of top cooks for use at competitions and at home. Smithfield.com. And if you're a competitor and a committed cook, go to SmokinWithSmithfield.com. And that way you can enter in your first place finishes, both ribs and pork. We thank them for their support. All right. Let's go ahead and get ready for the fourth Tuesday of the month Embedded Correspondent segment. Here they are joining me this evening. Doug Scheiding directly to my right. If you're looking at the television screen, there's John Solberg from Michigan directly below me. And from the great city of Utah, catty corner bottom right, is none other than Rusty Monson. Guys, I'm sure you are all ready for the third season of Barbecue Central Show's American Idol. We won't get into that, but I'm sure everybody's very excited. Everybody's been steady at work, making sure that they have stuff in the can. If you need any help with production, of course, reach out. I can help with that, or we can also send it over to the official sound man of Barbecue Central Show, Daniel Tristan in Texas. So whatever you guys need from me, I am at your disposal as we ramp up here for Season 3, which, again, is in 1 month's time. So we want to make sure that we are paying close attention to that. But withholding all of that, let's go ahead and grab somebody from Clubhouse, Rod or Lance. They've both played before. If somebody wants to raise their hand, I am more than happy to have one of you guys on here this evening, and you can answer the 100% assurity questions with us. So I'll wait for 5 seconds. Actually, we'll just see who goes ahead and takes up the first invite that I put out there. Hey, look at this. Everybody knows this guy. It's the realtor to the Hawaiian Stars, Lance Owen. Hey, Lance. Lance?
Hey, thank you.
All right, there he is. Hey. All right, Lance, you know how to play this game. It's the 100% assurity picks. I'm going to ask questions to everybody here on the panel, and then we'll also come to you for an answer, and you have to just give us a yes or a no. Easy enough, Lance?
Yes, it's easy enough.
All right, here we go. And here's the first question. 100% yes or 100% no? Why not start in Hawaii? St. Patrick's Day is highly overrated. Lance?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right. Oh, wait. Hold on. Hitting the wrong goddamn sound effect. Sorry about that. Lance says absolutely not. Doug, 100% yes or 100% no? St. Patrick's Day highly overrated.
100% absolutely yes.
John Solberg, highly overrated?
Yes, 100% highly overrated.
Said yes, okay. Rusty looks like he's frozen and not there now that I'm paying attention here. Rusty, give me a wave. No. Yeah, see, I'm like, nobody could sit there with his arm in that position and stay comfortable that long. See, my eyes are keen. We go to me. 100% yes or 100% no. St. Patrick's Day is highly overrated. It's a quorum, folks. It is highly overrated. Maybe Rusty saw that question and was offended and has ejected for the balance of the show. We'll see if he comes back here. We'll go to the next question here. Anyway, 100% yes or 100% no, in keeping within the St. Patrick's Day theme. Lance, have you ever consumed green beer in your life? Lance?
There you are. I lost you for a minute. What was the question?
Have you ever, 100% yes or 100% no, you have consumed green beer within your life?
Yes, 100%.
100%. Let's go to who appears to be back. Actually, let's go ahead and do double barrel. Rusty, you're back. Get ready to do 2 in a row right here. 100% yes or 100% no. St. Patrick's Day, highly overrated.
That holiday's so freaking stupid. Like, it's so dumb. Just because your grandfather was Irish, like, 15 generations ago, bro. You, like, have so much more blood in you, it's not even funny, and you're just picking one just because it's cool. I don't understand. It's dumb.
All right.
And, yeah, I've had green beer. It's all right.
You've had green beer. All right. So highly overrated and had green beer. Rusty Monston, back and passionate as ever. Doug Scheiding, you have had consumed green beer within your life.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes, all right. Not unfortunately, you're allowed. Seems to be very popular, especially on one day out of the year. We go to Michigan embedded correspondent, John Solberg. You have consumed green beer within your life.
100% no.
No? All right.
Never been there.
I will now answer this question, 100% yes or 100% no. You have consumed green beer within your life? I'm with John. Never. Never. I have no idea. You know, now that I think about it, The only time I've ever seen green beer has only been on television. And if the only time I ever see something on television and not within my grasp, I question its viability. I question its real existence. Like, it should be in front of me. I should be able to reach out and grab it and drink it, but I've only ever seen it on television. So to me, green beer is kind of a mythical thing. But you guys have had it, so I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying that's how my mind works. Question number 3. Let's start out with Rusty here. 100% yes or 100% no. Gin is better than vodka.
Yes, it is. Because
all right.
It's got a good flavor.
Doug, gin is better than vodka.
I live in the land of Tito's. No.
Okay. Split already. John, 100% yes or 100% no. Gin is better than vodka.
100% yes. Unsponsored.
Okay, I'm going to leave myself last here. We'll go over to Hawaiian realtor to the mega stars and mega rich, Lance Owen. Lance, 100% yes or 100% no. Gin is better than vodka.
100% yes.
100% yes. Well, that's going to put a majority here, no doubt about it. I, of course, would say the gin is better than vodka. There's no doubt about it. More flavor. And by the way, if you use the word martini, you can never also say vodka in the same sentence because that's not happening. 100% yes or 100% no. We'll start with Doug. You would rather have sirloin over filet mignon.
No.
I'm shocked. Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no. You'd rather have sirloin over filet mignon.
Yep, I like the sirloin. It's delicious.
Let's go to Hawaiian realtor extraordinaire, Lance Owen. Lance, you would rather have sirloin over a filet.
That is a tough one, but I'm going to go with sirloin. Yes.
Okay. I'm a little wondering about this guy. John, you'd rather have sirloin over filet.
Yes.
Right. That's what I thought. I'll round it out here and say that aside from... Doug, were you the only one? I say sirloin over filet mignon every day of the week.
Yeah, I'm
what are you,
two in a row. I'm
are
two
you,
in a row.
Are you
Only
a snob of some sort? What's the deal with that?
No, I just like the texture of the...
You like
sirloin
tender,
filet
no
mignon.
flavor bullshit?
It's not no flavor. It's a mild
No flavor. It's a joke. Filet mignon is the most overrated piece of beef on the steer. People, filet is so good. Bullshit. It's got no fat. It's got no flavor, and it's tender. Big fucking deal. Get over yourself. Try a real steak like a ribeye or a strip steak or any other freaking steak that comes off the cow, for crying out loud. I don't believe you. You're lying. You're just saying that. You in cahoots with the filet mignon board, Doug? Come clean.
Absolutely. They called last week. I was going to say that, but hey.
All right.
Cat's out of the bag now.
Does Jennifer like filet mignon over sirloin? Would you guess?
I don't think she would. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. We won't answer that. We won't talk for her. This is men only. 100%
Rib,
yes or
she would go
100% no. 100% yes or 100% no. When it comes to charcoal, John, you prefer lump over briquette.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I prefer lump over.
Rusty, you prefer lump over briquette.
That's a really hard question.
Uh-huh.
But in a vacuum, I would say lump, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
A little surprised so far. We'll go to Lance from Hawaii. Lance, 100% yes or 100% no. When it comes to charcoal, you prefer lump over briquette.
I want to say, but 95% of my cooks are on briquettes, so I'm going to say briquettes.
All right. Or the answer is yes. And we go to Rusty. Wait, Rusty, did you answer already? Oh, Doug, charcoal, you would prefer briquettes over lump.
The question was actually lump over briquettes, so Lance is no, I think. So
you're right. I'm sorry. You go lump. Okay.
Yeah, I'm lump.
That's fine. All right.
That question sucks. That's a tough one.
Yes, but this is why we answer. This is why we ask the tough questions, because we are the industry's leading opinion makers, not including Lance, of course. But we are the leading opinion makers here in the industry. We have to give our take here. 100% yes or 100% no. To me, when it comes to charcoal, I prefer lump over briquette. No. Now, you might think, because I am a huge fan of lump, that I prefer it, but I have to look over the broad spectrum as we make opinions in this industry. And I think more times than not, because of consistency, I would go ahead and grab a bag of briquettes. That's probably what I would do. We have one 100% assurity question left. We'll go back to Hawaii and lead off here. Lance, 100% yes or 100% no. This time next month, Green Mountain Grills will be out of business.
100% no.
Get that big stuff out of here.
We'll go to John, 100% yes or 100% no. This time next month, Green Mountain Grills will be out of business.
100% no.
Okay.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Rusty, yes or no? Green Mountain Grills will be out of business.
No, David will be quiet.
Get that big stuff out of here.
David what?
We'll defeat Goliath.
Oh,
It's a
David will
Bible
defeat
story.
Goliath.
I'll tell you all about it off there.
All right. Very good. Doug, 100% yes or 100% no? This time next month, Green Mountain Grills will be out of business.
No.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Well, now I'm wondering what the hell everybody else knows that I don't know. Looking at all their faces, trying to see who's got to tell that I can start to work for questions. I can't see Lance, but he doesn't know anything. Lives in paradise, and we all hate his guts. I can't, and nobody's got to tell here that I can start to jam up. All right. Guess that just leaves me. 100% yes or 100% no. Will Green Mountain Grills be out of business this time next month? Now, I don't know if I should have qualified this question. I mean, are you answering under the assumption that this includes the ITC answer back one way or the other? Did that factor into your decisions? If not, raise your hand and I'll come back and ask. Did that all factor in? No? Okay. Rusty, given that new piece of questioning on my end, which I apologize and why I would never make a good lawyer, does that change your mind? Do you think Green Mountain Grill will be in business next month if the decision is back?
I think they'll find a way, man. The obstacle is the way.
You think
and
they will
they'll
be?
find it.
You think they will be in? All right, Doug. Did that change your opinion at all?
Oh no, it's
No? Okay.
no either way.
No, either. Doug or John, you were good.
I'm good. It's no either way. That decision's not going to have anything to do with the next 30 days.
Oh. All right. And Lance, did you need to change your answer at all, or you're still good with yours?
I'm still good with mine.
All
Thank you.
right. Well, Lance, as always, you have come to save the day. We certainly appreciate anything that you are looking to promote or talk to people about that is related to Hawaii and whatever you're into before I let you go tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Kona Home Team, that's KONA, hometeam.com if you need for all your real estate needs in the state of Hawaii. And send a big mahalo to Meathead for that smoked ice. That was awesome.
All
So
right.
thank you.
Mahalo. Thank you, Lance. Appreciate it. That's Lance Owen, the Hawaiian realtor to the realtor, whatever. He's a big time out there. What can I tell you? He's got a horse ring, if you didn't know. What, Doug?
What was your answer to the last question? We answered it all twice.
All right. Now, my answer is predicated upon there being a ruling from the ITC, which means I have to now figure out or speculate how they're going to rule. So let's say it's within that month. This time next month, Green Mountain Grill will be out of business. What does that entail? Traeger is affirmed. There's a remedy damage due. Then there's a bond. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Also, we would also have to assume that even if that's the case, if somehow they're still in business, then that means there was some kind of deal made between higher ups at both places. And my gut isn't telling me that 50% of that side is into making any deal whatsoever. Green Mountain Grills will not be in this month.
Get that big stuff out of here.
And I'm, again, speculating on all the information I'm getting from how the ITC might be ruling, but I feel that if the ITC rules in affirmation of Traeger, there isn't going to be any olive branches extended out saying, hey, we won, and oh, by the way, we want everybody to play. I just don't see that happening. So I hope against hope that I am wrong, but that's where my gut's telling me. And that's going to do it for the 100% assurity question for March. April will lead a whole, but man, I didn't realize that last one was going to be so gut wrenching for me. But there's a lot of invested for me in that whole thing on a number of different scenarios. So now we have some other topics to discuss. We got a couple minutes here before we go to break and then finish this out. But let's go ahead and I guess extend this out a little bit on the Green Mountain Grill side. Does anyone have any thoughts about where? And this is a little bit more broad reaching as far as now covering the entire pellet industry, but does anybody have thoughts on where the pellet industry might end up next month? Holding the Green Mountain Grill thing aside, do you think we'll be in a similar position to where we're at, or do we have a potentially whole new-looking pellet face, John?
30 days from now, everything in the pellet industry is going to look exactly like it does right this minute.
Right.
May not in 60 days, may not in 90 days, but 30 days from now, man, the world just don't move that fast. It's like someone in the GMG aside will be maybe under some form of bankruptcy protection or something, but nothing's going to change in 30 days. Nothing can change in 30 days. The world just doesn't go that fast.
Doug?
I liken it to how many people take a picture of their check and deposit it?
I do.
Does anybody on? Okay, exactly. That's kind of a big deal, I'd say. USAA, a company that's based out of here in San Antonio, they're the ones that hold the patents on that. And they're the ones that sued Wells Fargo in the beginning. So, because Wells Fargo started releasing that to their customers. So what do? They were ruled against it, and then they had to pay money to USAA in order to license it and use it. Now USAA is going after PNC. So I think that happened in 2020 or 21, and now this year they're going after PNC. So there's just going to be arrangements to be able to use or license the technology. If this is my own personal opinion, I don't know anything about it, but I think it's analogous from the standpoint of that's a fairly common and way to deposit checks, and people were using it before there was a ruling, and so they're going to continue to use it afterwards in some sort of licensing arrangement, pay for play.
You assume, Doug, that there'll be a fair arrangement? I've heard things being bantered about here currently, and they're not fair. There's a lot of money being thrown around that I'm hearing, all speculation, of course. But even if it's somewhat true, it's fairly damaging to the companies that would potentially want to play with that. You think that there could be a fair arrangement made? And by the way, I have no idea what a fair arrangement for like getting use of that technology is. If it's $2 a cooker or $80 a cooker or whatever it would be, but you think a fair arrangement could be made?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, if you have a patent, you're going to, belly up to the bar and protect it and, trademark as well. So I would think there'd be an arrangement that basically, because whether it's this or any other situation, if you're basically knocking off all the competition, wouldn't it be better if they licensed it and you've got a regular, stream of revenue from it? From a licensing of the patent. So from a long term, I would think that would be more of a better solution. But
John, agree?
That's me.
I agree that that's a good solution if it wasn't technology got stolen from me in the first fucking place. I mean, it's going to be hard for Green Mountain Grills to go back and take some kind of arrangement like that because they got it, they're going to get screwed. and that's just the way that's going to go down. But don't get me going. That's for the next question.
So it could be a situation where one company gets executed, but the rest just get some kind of a deal made so they can continue on. Basically, could be.
Agreed.
Rusty, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of it's hard to say because it just depends on how cutthroat they want to be. Like Doug said, there's options, and even these people ruling, they might rule and say, hey, you have to pay them this and this and this. You continue operating under this, but you never know what's going to play out with it. I think it's all going to be the same when it's all done. I don't think it's going to change much. It's just be a blip in the history of pellet grills, regardless of what happens.
All right, we're talking with the embedded correspondents right here, guys. Take a break real quick, and I'll talk to everybody about Primo Grills. And then we'll tighten up these last talking points here and call it a show. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they are fuel efficient. We love that they can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot for high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday lineup of ceramic cookers? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker, not very realistic. Why? Because it's round. Enter Primo Grill and their game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute the two-zone setup that you desire. It also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. Really, when you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to configure the Primo cooker, so you're only limited by your culinary imagination. Now, a lot of us love accessories. The pit somehow becomes the cheapest part of this whole situation, and Primo Grills does not disappoint here either. If you like rotisserie cooking, they have the new Primo Grill Rotisserie. If you love pizza cooking, they have the Primo Grill Pizza accessory. They also have a rib rack. They have a half drip pan, and the list goes on. Also, don't forget about the lift hinge and the top and bottom damper upgrades that happened last year. That's all available. Only being sold through dealers as well, so go to primogrill.com, find a dealer near you, check them all out, see all the sizes that they have, and then make the best decision for you and get educated at the same time. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz? Yes. Patented technology and true two-zone cooking capabilities? Yes and yes. Multiple sizes? Yes. And if you have to have a round cooker, they have one of those too. But consider an oval. Primogrill.com is the website. Again, find a dealer near you. Check them out in person. Follow them on the Facebook and the Instagrams. That's Primo Grills at primogrill.com. We're back with more embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Celebrating over 10 years of prolific and unparalleled live fire barbecue and grilling talk. And yes, it's still being done from Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
This portion being brought to you by Vortic Watches, a small batch custom watch manufacturing and vintage restoration company located in northern Colorado, taking antique American pocket watches and turning them into wrist watches. In order to do that, they combine traditional and cutting-edge technology to create unique quality functional timepieces with exceptional value. And the coolest part, each watch that they make is unique and one of a kind. Vortic founded on the motto that America wasn't assembled, it was built. Check them out at VorticWatches.com. And we are rejoined by the embedded correspondents. There's Doug Scheiding right next to me and John Solberg below and Rusty Monson there just below Doug. And following up on the last question that we got there on the other side of the break, as you see this case play out and it becomes more and more followed by folks in the industry, do you see this as Traeger potentially galvanizing the industry as a whole against them? John?
I don't know. There's a lot in my head in this whole thing. Yes and no. I mean, some of the companies that Traeger they're getting bigger. Companies are sucking up companies. It's not going to be a big deal for a lot of these offshore manufacturers to pay Traeger a fee to keep licensing it, or maybe they'll just pick up their hammer and squish them. I mean, I guess the bottom line is yes, it is galvanizing the industry. I'm going to go with yes, it is going to in some fashion.
Rusty?
Yeah, I mean, you can't not, I guess, in some ways or another. But I don't know. I guess I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I just don't think it's. I don't know.
You don't think it's that big of a deal?
Yeah, I really don't. I just don't think it's going to be. I mean, when it's all said and done, and we look back on this, and if Green Mountain Grill goes away, as much as I love them, it's going to just be one of those things like, oh well, there's 45 other kinds, it's just one of those things. Just life moves on, kind of thing. Sadly,
Doug.
Again, I'm a paid consultant to Traeger, but the good thing is I don't know much about it other than when Jeremy was on your show and talked a lot about it from that standpoint. So, but my feeling is that early on there was a lot more competition when they were all kind of smaller, but now Traeger to me is becoming the Xerox or Kleenex of pellet grills, and so I don't really think that there's. I think it's ridiculous to think that they're doing that, other than if they have a patent, they're going to protect it. So I think that would be a strategy that any large company would have going forward. So but perception's reality, and if you're the the David or Goliath, if you're the David, you probably would think that things are being galvanized against you.
I've talked with a bunch of different folks, manufacturers, accessory makers, people within the industry, people that cover the industry, and I think there's a fork in the road here. So you have a situation where if a ruling comes back and Traeger's affirmed, there's an opportunity, I guess, where they can say, hey, we won, and everybody can just continue on as they want. Our patent was upheld. Uh-oh. Anybody still hear me?
Yes.
I have a feeling we're going to get cut off.